automatically the safety car gets triggered and it is deployed. But now that it's wet and DRS has been disabled, it is an absolute no-brainer to come into the pit lane and strap on the intermediate tires, because we can't race at racing speed now. We can't clear the standing water off the track. We absolutely have to come in for intermediates. But yet, there's cars staying out on track and they're going to get caught by the safety car. Hello guys, Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Races and welcome back to Season 1 of our F1 23 career mode. Driving alongside my hero, Fernando Alonso, for a cognizant Aston Martin Racing. Now guys, heading in towards this episode, we've got another sprint race weekend waiting for us, and we are heading towards a fan favorite in the Belgium Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps, it's a favorite of many, and we are currently still on a fastest lap record streak. The whole season, the extra bonus point of fastest lap has come our way. So we've got 7 bonus points so far this season. You guys can see Leclerc, Verstappen and Hamilton are still very close towards one another, and they are the guys on our heels. I honestly think Sainz, Alonso, Perez and Russell are no longer going to be such a big feature within the championship, but they can still have a big effect on race results and how things are going to pan out for the rest of the season. Now, as you guys can see, looking at the performance chart, we here at Aston Martin are still at the tippy top, but only slightly ahead of Red Bull, Ferrari and Mercedes. The gap between the top 4 is very, very, very small, and it really more currently depends on which tracks we go to show which cars, to show out the cars' strong points and weak points. So of that top 4, any one of the top 8 cars can be the quickest. And then from McLaren all the way down to AlphaTauri, there's no back markers, there's just the midfield. So, well, I guess you can call us the front runners, and then there's the back markers, because they are all so close together. You can choose by yourself. Let me know in the comments down below which you choose, whether they are defined as back markers or the midfield. But basically, all 6 of those teams are so closely together, it's impossible to call who will be fighting for those last 2 points positions if something doesn't go wrong for the top 8. But guys, we're going to head straight into this. It's straight into qualifying. And there is a rain looming here around Spa-Francorchamps, but we will have to see what happens heading into this race weekend. So obviously, qualifying is on the Saturday, sprint race on the... qualifying is on the Friday, sprint race on the Saturday, and the main Grand Prix on Sunday. So we head out for our first lap in Q1. You guys know with the Aston's current pace, I only need 1 lap in Q1 to get myself into Q2, and it doesn't always have to be a stonker of a lap. I actually don't want to give away too much of my pace in Q1 when it comes to the rest of qualifying, as I run slightly wide through P1, having a little bit of a wash of understeer heading into the corner, combined with a late turn-in point. I just washed wide a little bit, but through the bus stop chicane, open up DRS towards the line. We come across the line for a 1 minute 42.4, and that is enough to get us into Q2. And it was a little bit faster than I thought I was going. I'm only 2 100ths behind Leclerc, but the 2 Ferraris look menacing so far. In the one and only practice session that we did have, Ferrari also topped the timing sheets. Out of quali is Bottas, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, De Vries, and Sargent. So both Alpha Tauris, a Haas, a Williams, and an Alfa Romeo. Hats off to Magnussen and Albon getting into Q2 actually, because those cars have not looked too strong throughout the developments of this weekend. But in any case, guys, into Q2, you guys can see the clouds are looming, and we cannot be too relaxed and set back for this, because there is rain forecast at the end of Q2, although currently it does seem like we might just miss it, but the rain is definitely going to hit in Q3. Coming across the line on our already scrubbed set of soft tires, over the line it's a 141.9.
We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
Thank you, Mark. So you guys can see we currently went provisional pole, and we stayed on provisional pole. It wasn't needed for me to go out for another lap. My lap was so good, I just stayed there. I was the only car in the 41s. But guys, massive news. Alonso and George Russell have been knocked out of Q2. They just didn't hook up their final laps. And you guys can see currently in the background of the screen it is raining, but the final laps were clean. I was just so far ahead, I didn't need to go out. But Russell and Alonso are out in Q2, and we've got 2 positions now for midfield runners. I'm going to categorize them as midfield runners that are open. And as you guys can see, it is currently raining in Q3. Sorry, I almost said Q2 again. In Q3. So, but the track is dry enough for slick tires. It's not saying that we should go out on wets or intermediates. And you guys can see everybody is leaving the pit lane on soft tires. So when I eventually start my lap with 9 minutes and 15 seconds to go, you guys can see here, the track is properly greasy. And according to the radar, the weather was just going to get worse. So you guys can go on board here as going up over Radion. We have a massive tank slapper, and that is going to lose us time all the way down this straight, heading in towards, what's this next corner's name again? I accidentally forgot now. It is down the Camel Straight into the... Guys, correct me in the comments. I'm probably gonna remember somewhere throughout the video. But if you've gotten to this point and you still, just like me, well, you see that I don't know I can't remember the name of those corners. Yeah, just hit me a little oopsie in the comments. But thank you very much. You guys can see it is so greasy and so slippery. I am hanging onto the car by millimeters, and it just doesn't feel like there is grip to contend with the AI, because as every year's AI is on the F1 game, in these changeable conditions, they are immensely overpowered. Whether you're running 60 AI or whether you're running 110 AI, they are absolutely overpowered as can be. You can see Norris goes provisional pole, then he gets demoted by Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, the car Lando having a little bit of a run there at the top. Coming around the bus stop now, it's one of the Alpines, and then it's Mercedes followed by myself. But you guys can see I am not confident in this lap, and the track is getting wetter and wetter as we speak. So for me, honestly, this was the only lap to run, and there was no point in ruining a last set of soft tires that I can use in either of the 2 races, because the track's just getting wetter. We come across the line where P3 9/10 off of Sainz, and by the time we get to the end of quali, we're down to P6. And I thought, okay, last of the top guys, I can work with this for the sprint race. But I fast forward time, it's still raining. As you guys can see, weather 5 minutes, still raining. And then we go to the black screen, and I'm sitting in 10th, 4.7 seconds off the pace. By some other miracle, the track didn't get wetter, it started drying up. And now we are starting in P10 behind the midfield runners. Hamilton also got caught out. He's sitting in P8. Both the McLarens of Norris and Piastri and the Alpine of Ocon did amazing. Look at Albon in the Williams. He's in P5 behind a Ferrari and Red Bull front 2 rows. I do not know what happened there. According to my information, the track was wetter. We wouldn't have gained time, but clearly I was mistaken. So the sprint race, we are starting from P10, and thank goodness it's the old format. Wherever we finish, we will start the main Grand Prix on Sunday. But officially, we've got a lot of work to do. Let's head to the sprint.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Albon, Norris, Ocon, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, O'Connor, Joe, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Russell, Magnussen, Bottas, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, De Vries, and Logan Sargent. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
So guys, we are sitting pretty here on the grid, but guys, look at the weather. I said rain was looming this weekend, and I did not mean just for the Friday qualifying. I'm going on the softs because it seems the rain is going to hit soon, and I need to gain a few positions before the rain hits. These softs only last about 4 laps, but we're going to use them. And in the latter part of the race, it seems like there's going to be heavy rain. So anything and everything can happen. Let's get ready for the Belgium sprint.
Here we go then. The formation lap is underway ahead of today's sprint.
I'm not superstitious, but in the long and fruitful history of F1, no one with the surname Hill has ever failed in winning a world title. So Graham Hill, David Hill and Phil Hill are all previous winners.
We're almost ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
Guys, I am the only driver who has opted for the soft compound of tires. I don't know if the other teams' weather radars are faulty or something, but the rain is coming. I mean, I think it's a 9 or 11 lap race if I'm not mistaken. The rain is going to come within 6 laps, and even though the softs only hold 4, worst case scenario, I need to survive for 2 laps as the rain comes down. But for the grip advantage I'm going to have, it is a no-brainer for me to go onto the softs. And as Logie Sarge and Nick DeVries line up on the final row of the grid, we are getting ready to head to 5 red lights. And it's go for the Belgium sprint. It is Sergio Perez on the front row with Carlos Sainz next to him. Verstappen and Leclerc on the second row, but Leclerc gets the better of Verstappen. Through the first corner, side by side, for Perez and Sainz heading down the hill as Verstappen has been relegated down further positions thanks to the Alpine and the Williams. Here we go, side by side, through Eau Rouge and up over Radion for Perez and Carlos Sainz. Sainz gets the better of the Red Bull, but will the Red Bull now have the straight line speed going down the Camel Straight? Here we go, Perez pulls out of the slipstream. It's going to be side by side for him and Sainz heading into the next corner. Leclerc's going to try and join this, but he's just too little too late. Sainz defends around the outside and forces Perez to go around the outside for the second part of the chicane, but he will have the inside for this near flat out right-hander. Down the hill and towards the very tricky braking zone of the next corner. Sainz leads from Perez, from Leclerc, and then my Aston Martin is in 4th. Wait a daggone minute, where do we come from, brother? Okay, so guys, it's an 8-lap sprint. So halfway through this race, we will have rain. The clouds are already looking very menacing above us. You guys can see I absolutely annihilate Piastri off the line. Hamilton is then passed. Then I'm sandwiched between the 2 McLarens of Piastri and Norris. Verstappen being pushed out wide by the Alpine and the Williams. He just has a terrible run coming out of the first corner. So we also go side by side with him. Through Eau Rouge, a little bit of a love tap there from Verstappen. I didn't realize how cold my tires were, so I put my hand up. That was my mistake. Now he's under pressure from Norris, and ahead of us, we've got the Williams and the Alpine battling, and Sainz and I think it's Gasly going side by side, and we just swoop around the outside, and that is why I chose the soft tires. It was an incredible grip advantage, and is it Gasly or Ocon? I actually can't make it out. I think actually it's SD Bestie. I think this is Mr. SD Bestie. But you guys can see they are focused so much on each other, and I can brake later. I've got more grip, and even though my tires are still cold, fresh softs versus fresh mediums, it's just a completely different realm. And that is how I got myself into 4th position. But I mean, guys, this is why I saved that last set of tires in qualifying. Even though I bit myself in the butt because I didn't go out for a final run, these tires are proving a massive advantage in this sprint. Hamilton is down to P9, Alonso P12, Russell P13, and I mean, myself and the two Ferraris and the Red Bull of Perez. Verstappen is P6. If we can break away, if that Williams of Albon can hold up Verstappen, there's a big chance of us actually getting a win in this sprint. Lap 2, we are sitting pretty right underneath the gearbox of Charles Leclerc. We can smell the Shell Helix oil from that Ferrari gearbox. Here we go, side by side for myself and Charles Leclerc. Into the next corner, we will have the braking advantage yet again. Leclerc runs it around the outside, but there is just not enough grip for the Ferrari, and we are already into a podium position. On lap 3, it is getting darker by the lap. We are right underneath the rear wing of Sergio Perez's Red Bull, as Sainz is trying to clear a gap here, but he is just not managing it because this Red Bull straight line speed is so immense. DRS has now been activated on lap 3. DRS, we are not even using, I would say, you use a little bit of a blip there just to get alongside Perez, but it's an easy move up the inside of the Mexican, as we also couldn't brake as late or we would have absolutely sent Sainz to Narnia. But in any case, P2 literally within 3 laps, less than 3 completed laps, 2.5, we have gone from P10 to P2, and Sainz in the second sector now, as unfortunately Albon could do nothing about Max Verstappen. It's lap 4 now. The clouds are starting to set in, and Sainz is a sitting duck. In the middle sector, I literally get so close to them that I have to back off my pace or I'm going to run into them. But down the straight, it's an easy overtake. Sainz with no slipstream, no DRS, no nothing. Overtake, DRS engaged on my Aston Martin, and that is P1, baby. But now is when my soft tires are going to start to feel it a bit more than all the mediums on the rest of these cars. But I am literally hoping and praying for rain to start falling any second, because all I have to do now is defend the first position. As going through No Name, I get a massive tank slapper through there, heading into Puan. Side strikes running around the outside, no contact whatsoever. But through Puan, I managed just enough to defend from the Spaniard. But now Perez and Leclerc are very, very close. They basically just sat in my slipstream and each other's slipstream as I passed them lap by lap. We come towards the end of lap 5, and you guys can see the rain is here. The track is getting greasy, and these softs feel very second-hand right now. Through this next part, you guys can see the car is just wiggling its tail about, and Sainz and Perez are still there. Oh, there's a little bit of a moment there once again for me, as me and Sainz go side by side, but the safety car has been deployed, and Sainz and I didn't have really much contact. There's no damage or debris on the track, but the safety car is an automatic or intermediates. Let's go towards Pierre Gasly and the second Alpine, who is being a little bit embarrassed by his teammate. Him and Guan Yu Zhou go side by side through Puan in these greasy conditions, and they are just sitting side by side into the next chicane. Zhou loses the rear end, and he goes round, and he hits the barrier very gently though, but it's enough to cost him his front wing. And because there's a hold up, automatically the safety car gets triggered and it is deployed. But now that it's wet and DRS has been disabled, it is an absolute no-brainer to come into the pit lane and strap on the intermediate tires, because we can't race at racing speed now. We can't clear the standing water off the track. We absolutely have to come in for intermediates. But yet there's cars staying out on track, and they're going to get caught by the safety car. What is Ferrari and Williams doing? What's McLaren doing? Leclerc, Albon, Norris, Aston Martin. I was multiple seconds ahead of Alonso. Why didn't you box him? I came out just behind him. Russell also didn't pit. I am out of the lane. Perez, Sargent is one of the cars that hasn't pitted. But myself, Perez, and Hamilton are really sitting pretty right now as we look at Guan Yu Zhou's front wing replacement. But my brain is baffled. Look at the standing water even in the pit lane, guys. The cars are kicking up spray behind the safety car. Leclerc, Albon, both McLarens, Alonso, Russell, Sargent, all these drivers are out on very, very slippery, slick tires in these conditions. My brain is malfunctioning. My brain is not braining. What are these teams doing to their other drivers, or even the whole team in general? McLaren, going from a position where they could both have scored points right now, are going to lose all their points in the sprint, and they're going to start very much at the back of the grid for the main race tomorrow. Oh my word, because I do not see these guys finishing this race like this. They're either going to have massive crashes or they have to pit now. So let's see what happens. The safety car is into the pit lane. We are the first driver on the intermediates. And as I thought, all these guys are coming in. I take a wide line through the bus stop to get grip as quickly as possible. I put my foot down, and I absolutely gap Sergio Perez coming out of the bus stop chicane. Nothing that the Mexican could do about that. It's an easy run into the first corner, and all we have to do now is defend our lead. It is ourselves leading from Perez and Hamilton. Esteban Ocon in the Alpine is fourth, ahead of the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. So Sainz must have been held up in the pit lane with all the other drivers coming in to actually pit for their tires. But guys, look at this. Norris jumps Leclerc in the pit lane, but they are 13th to 20th, all the 7 drivers that didn't pit. Norris, Leclerc, Albon, Alonso, Russell, Zhou, Piastri, and Sargent. Sorry, 8 drivers. But still, why? They are so far behind. There's 2 laps to go. There's no way that they are going to catch up to anybody else. And it's basically these teams have ruined their drivers' races. And excuse the jump in the recording there, guys. You guys know by now I've got no control over that. But Leclerc and Norris are battling here for the wooden spoon, especially considering it's sprint format. But they are giving us a show and a half, heading down to P1 in the weights side by side. And again, unfortunately, the replay jumps. But Leclerc manages to get ahead of the papaya orange McLaren. But guys, after that, nothing much happened. We just kept the lead. We kept the 1 second gap to Sergio Perez. And it's an easy win. The soft tire strategy was a 200 IQ place from 10th to 1st in the sprint. And we will start from pole position, roundabout stop. And it's another sprint race win in the pocket.
I need a moment. Yes, nice work, mate. You did a really good job today. Pretty sure the boss is going to be happy with that one.
If Lawrence Stroll isn't impressed with that, I know I replaced his little boy. But if he's not impressed with that, nothing will impress that man. P10 to P1 in an 8-lap sprint. Let's go, boy! Come on! Guys, honestly, what a damn race. Like, there was so much drama and action in that. If this is just the taster for the sprint, what is going to happen in the main race? It's going to be impressive. It's a little bit of a scattered up grid, and we've got quick guys coming from behind. Leclerc, freaking, who is there more? It's Alonso, it's Russell. There's a lot of these guys coming from behind, and it's going to make things very interesting and very juicy. Very, very, very juicy. So Leclerc will start P13. Max is going to start P6. Perez P2. So it's myself, Perez, Hamilton, and Verstappen that are reasonably okay. But Leclerc, Alonso, Russell, yeah, it's got to be interesting, guys. Let's head straight to the main Grand Prix.
Welcome to this visit to the Ardennes countryside. Spa-Francorchamps hosted its first Grand Prix back in 1925, and this historic track is loved by drivers and fans alike, and us here in the commentary box too. So it's a warm welcome from the Belgian Grand Prix. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high quality racing as well. Simply put it, there's no place quite like it. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. O'Connor lines up on pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Ocon, Sainz, Gasly, Tsunoda, Magnussen, De Vries, Hulkenberg, Leclerc, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Albon, Russell, Joe, Oscar Piastri, Sargent, Bottas, and Max Verstappen completes the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Anthony Davidson is alongside me, as usual, for today's race. Can we start by having a chat about Sergio Perez? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to power unit component changes. It's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Drama, drama, drama continues. Max Verstappen, who should have started P6, will start last on the grid thanks to engine penalties. So guys, this race is for me, Hamilton or Perez to lose. 5 other cars of the top eight cars are coming from behind. Us 3 have got absolutely no excuse.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
3 attempts, the highest of any team in Formula 1 history. They came close 5 times, 1978, 1980, 81, 85, 1997.
So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong.
I don't think anybody is going to get it wrong today, to be honest with you guys. But you guys can see I am the only car starting on the hard tires. I'm going to try a hard to soft strategy. The hard tires in the sprint actually lasted a bit longer than I thought they would. So I'm gonna risk it for the chocolate biscuit. I know I'm gonna get undercuts, but on the softs at the end, I can try and maintain my fastest lap record, and I can also just push like crazy at the end when I need to. But guys, it is time for 5 red lights, and it's go for the Belgium Grand Prix. What's going to happen with all the top cars coming from behind? Myself and Perez heading into the first corner. We have a beautiful cut-off line into the first corner, but I run wide. My cold hard tires did not like the late braking zone. We almost lose P1 to Perez, and he's sitting right behind us. Hamilton lost P3 to, I think it's actually P8 Gasly, not even Esteban Ocon. Oh no, it is Ocon actually in P3. But here comes the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, and the thing is, Perez and Ocon are on the soft tires. I am sitting duck in the corners right now. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? We actually are a little bit braver than Perez on the brakes, but it's still side by side for myself on the Red Bull. I run a bit wide, but successfully defend my P1 position. Perez P2, Ocon P3, Hamilton P4. Then it is Gasly in P5. Alpine are going to have a stonker here. Carlos Sainz in P6. He also had a fairly decent start. So that Ferrari is also in very good position to actually may have a big impact on this race. But guys, Perez makes a massive mistake going through the downhill hairpin, and Esteban damn Ocon is in P2. And guys, again, double grip advantage. I'm on 2 compounds harder, he's on 2 compounds softer, and I'm sure that is a fresh set of soft tires. So we are literally in a massive predicament here. We need to wait for those soft tires to just fall off the cliff. Otherwise we can't do anything else. We can't do anything else. Not otherwise, we can't do anything else. We have to make these hards, rub it in properly, and then take it from there. But it's still myself leading from Ocon, Perez, Hamilton, Gasly, Sainz, Magnussen, Tsunoda. Leclerc's all the way up into P9. Hulkenberg P10. Russell is in P12. Alonso P15. And Verstappen is still in last place. How on earth does that work? You guys tell me. How does Verstappen still sit in P20 in a Red Bull that is an absolute rocket ship? The only thing that can make that car faster is actually legitimately strapping a rocket to the back of that car. But Leclerc gets past Tsunoda, he's up into P8, and we are still defending from Ocon, Perez, and Hamilton, and Gasly is also not far behind. We are literally leading a massive train here. But guys, honestly, Verstappen is still behind Sargent. How? Russell is now all the way up into P11, and Alonso is still in P15. Verstappen and Alonso are not having a good race so far. The start of their race is something to forget. But Norris goes up into P12. Finally, Verstappen gets past Logie Sarge, and now we look at Alonso on lap 3 as he's stuck behind Albon and De Vries. Williams just absolutely costing themselves a heap of points thanks to their strategy for Albon in the sprint. But Alonso up the inside of Nick De Vries. De Vries is actually giving Alonso a proper fight there, but who can resist the sensational Spaniard Fernando Alonso? Now heading towards the final bus stop chicane as we head for Blanchimont, and it's a flat out corner right here. Easy move for Alonso up into P13. He needs to chase down Norris so he can get towards Russell. Here we go, Verstappen on Valtteri Bottas as De Vries is being overtaken by Piastri ahead of this little battle, and Verstappen needs to really start making waves. Already lap 4 of this Belgium Grand Prix, and Verstappen is not moving up quick enough. You guys can see at the top, my gap to Ocon is 1.7 seconds as my hearts are starting to rub in and I'm starting to get a little bit more confident, and also just the superiority of the car kicking in. Perez manages to overtake Ocon. Guys, unfortunately I missed that, but Perez and Hamilton have managed to overtake Esteban Ocon, and Esti is down to P4, and he's now being followed by his teammate Pierre Gasly. As we now look at George Russell, he wants to get himself into the points, and he's going side by side with the Haas of Hulkenberg and the AlphaTauri of Tsunoda. Beautiful move there from the Brit as he's now into P9. Leclerc is now here getting past Hulkenberg's teammate Kevin Magnussen, as Magnussen outbreaks himself a bit there, has to do a little bit of a juggle over the curb with his car there, but that's another position for Charles Leclerc, and he's now chasing down his teammate Carlos Sainz. And oh, there's a massive puff of smoke from the back of George Russell's Mercedes. What has Mercedes' reliability been this season? Russell just pulling off an epic double move to get himself back into the points, is out of the Belgium Grand Prix. Will this trigger a safety car? It doesn't look likely, but Alonso has now caught up to the back of Norris, and he's trying to get past, but nothing is working right now. We now look at the two Alpines, the two Frenchmen in the French team, as Pierre Gasly tries to go around the outside of Esti Besti, and he gets the move done, as Gasly is now currently the quicker car of the two, and he's up into P4. Guys, if Alpine manage P4 and P5, they are going to have an incredible rack up of points here, and it's going to look very good for that whole P5 to P10 battle of the midfield cars. But it's literally double Alpine, double Ferrari. It was double Haas, and now Alonso has put himself inside of a Haas sandwich as he overtakes Hulkenberg for P9. Verstappen has managed to get all the way up into P12. So slowly but surely these leading cars are getting back towards the front. Perez now coming into the pit lane at the end of lap 9, being followed very closely behind by Lewis Hamilton. The Alpine of, I think, Pierre Gasly is in as well. And now, guys, obviously I'm going long. I'm going very, very deep as Perez. That was a dangerous release from Red Bull because the ghosting system was active there. But clearly FIA favoritism here for Red Bull. No penalty for Sergio Perez. But in any case, guys, I'm just making a joke. If you are sensitive and that offended you, just get over it. In any case, Perez comes down the hill. Here goes Hamilton. Verstappen gets past Hamilton, and that is critical for Sergio Perez's race, because Hamilton is on cold, hard tires now, and I'm doing the exact swap of Hamilton and Perez so that I have the quicker tire at the end. When the Aston is at its quickest at the end of the race on low fuel, that car just feels like it's on rails on low fuel. But in any case, Hamilton tries to go up the inside here of Max, but cold tires versus warm tires, Hamilton can do nothing, and now Perez can try and break away from Hamilton. As you guys can see now, Sainz and Gasly are in. It was actually Ocon that pitted with Hamilton and Perez. But here comes Sergio Perez, and he is now behind, trying to chase down my teammate Fernando Alonso. For a little bit of time here, it's an Aston Martin 1-2, something we haven't been able to manage this season so far. But I've got a 16-second lead over Alonso, and he is now very quickly being chased down by Perez. But Hamilton needs to get past Verstappen because it's already an almost 3-second gap to Sergio Perez, and Hamilton cannot afford this if he wants to keep this momentous streak of him going. He's been doing better race by race by race. So what is Lewis Hamilton going to do? Around the outside of Verstappen, those hards will be heated up now, and he's on much fresher rubber. He will have the grip advantage. So Hamilton is back behind Sergio Perez. We now look at Charles Leclerc as he's battling with Esteban Ocon, and it's a very close shave here for the Ferrari man against the Alpine man, almost losing his front wing as he nearly ran into the back of Esteban Ocon on the Camel Straight. But it's an easy move on the Frenchman, the Ferrari just being a much superior car at this stage of the season. Alpine unfortunately lose out that position, and Sainz has also found himself ahead of Gasly, as now on lap 11 the medium runners are going to start to pit as Verstappen is into the pit lane, and it is critical for my teammate Alonso to come out ahead of Verstappen after his pit stop. But he's going another lap on his mediums. He's going one lap deeper to have fresher hards at the end of the race, and so far this race is not going according to plan for Verstappen. It's not going much better for Alonso, but at least he's not battling other cars right now to try and help out his teammate. He's actually being able to run consistent lap by lap pace. So Alonso has got the advantage at this stage. We now look at Perez at the end of lap 12. He has caught up to Alonso, and if he passes Fernando here, Alonso will not lose a lot of time. If I'm Aston Martin, box Fernando now. Box Alonso now. He hasn't lost, he basically hasn't lost any time at all. Perez is the one that has lost time against Hamilton. Box Fernando, box. There we go, Aston Martin. Fernando is into the pit lane, as it's now once again the order resumed at the front. Myself, Perez, and Hamilton. But I am still yet to pit, guys. I'm still going deeper into this race. And it's a little bit doom and gloom right now, but according to my engineer, we have no worries of rain at this very moment. So let's see where Verstappen is going to come out in accordance to Alonso. Let's see as they come across the start-finish line. Alonso's already on his way out of the pit lane. Here we go. The white line is hit. He can put off the pit lane speed limiter. Down the hill, there goes one of the two Hasses. Well, Alonso will be back in inside the Haas sandwich again. Yes, he will be. But now, once again, cold tires against warm tires. And Hulkenberg, with a Ferrari engine in the back of this Haas, does not have a lack in straight line speed. DRS open for the Hulkster. And here we go. There's nothing that Alonso can do. He can't even try to outbrake Hulkenberg. And that is an unfortunate scenario for Alonso. This can cost him to finish ahead of Verstappen. And to be honest, guys, I would prefer him finishing ahead of Verstappen because Aston Martin can do with every point against Red Bull. We are doing our job currently against Perez. But Alonso needs to try and stick ahead of the defending world champion, Max Verstappen. He gets himself back into the Haas sandwich as he passes Hulkenberg. Luckily, Max still needs to pass Hulkenberg and Tsunoda, and Alonso with this car now on fresh hards, he's gonna be a quick boy McGee. But here we go. Verstappen is gonna try maybe into the first corner, but he can't do anything about the young Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. But now heading down towards Arouge and Radion, and on the Camel Straight, there's nothing that Yuki will be able to do about this Red Bull. Currently, your top 10 is myself, Perez, Hamilton, Leclerc, having a beautiful recovery. Ocon, Sainz, Gasly, Magnussen, Alonso, Hulken, and Hulkenberg round out your top 10. So we are now looking towards Max Verstappen trying to get into this top 10 as we are on lap 14 of this race. And oh, what a defensive move there from Yuki Tsunoda. I'm sure the Red Bull family are not happy about that. And Helmut Marko and Christian Horner are probably being like, excuse me, do you want to be fired? Do you want to be fired? And I'm so sure Yuki's answer to that question will be, absolutely not. But guys, it's lap 40 now. The time for us to pit is close. But because Hamilton got stuck behind Verstappen for a lap, it has enabled Charles Leclerc, who is doing a soft to medium strategy, to have closed up to the back of the 7-time world champion. Leclerc right behind Lewis Hamilton, and they are battling now for the final podium position. We dive it into the pit lane, and yes, I'm going to lose out to Perez, probably to Verstappen and Hamilton as well. But guys, I'm going to be on the soft, on the quickest tire, and inside the quickest car on the track. We had the pace this weekend for pole position. We are in the quickest car. This car loves Belgium very clearly.
Okay, go, go, go. Perfect job on the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one. Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Thank you very much, Mark. And you guys can see I come out just behind Hamilton and Leclerc. And as soon as these tires are warmed up, they've just got 7% quali wear on them. They are scrubbed, but they will make it to the end of the race. As soon as they've got temperature inside of them, Leclerc and Hamilton are going to be under pressure. And Perez is only 3 seconds up the road as Sainz is busy battling with Esteban Ocon to get into the top 5. Leclerc gets past the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, and that leaves Lewis for us just as a little bit of a peace prize. We come towards the end of lap 15. These tires have already got temperature inside of them, even in the cool, very overcast conditions here at Spa this weekend. But Hamilton, there's nothing he can do about it. We're trying to go around the outside of Blanchimont, and that's a beautiful move, but that is grip advantage. Can we even go for the dive on Leclerc? We risk it for the chocolate biscuit. It's a little bit late, but that's a beautiful move up the inside of the Ferrari man. 2 cars, 2 corners. Let's go, boy. Let's go. We actually cost Leclerc position against Hamilton. I'm sure Ferrari are not going to be happy about that. But 0 contact was made. It was a clean move. Leclerc gave me the room. There is nothing that Leclerc can say about that move. I basically just unsettled his line. But Sainz gets past Ocon as they head through Blanchimont as well, just up the inside, not like my outside line move. But we now head towards lap 16, and you guys can see it's 1.8 seconds to Perez. I'm closing him down quicker than you can say Formula 1. So here we go. Now Hamilton, excuse me guys, as Hamilton's tires are starting to have a little bit more grip than Leclerc's quicker wearing mediums, Hamilton is just like, yeah, this I can defend now, but don't count Charles Leclerc out just yet. You guys can see I am very close to Perez. I actually need to back off heading into the corners to not absolutely send Perez to Narnia. But here we go, you guys can see I am actually on the radio here towards my engineer.
Second place, Perez ahead. Okay, the gap is less than a second. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. Hamilton's behind you now. We're leading the car behind by 3.4 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Morgan. You guys can see I'm basically toying with Perez here. I don't want to overtake him into the first corner and give him DRS down the Camel Straight. So I'm just biding my time, staying behind, and now as we head down the hill, no overtake engaged whatsoever. Let's stay behind the Red Bull. As we even still close up, we have to lift heading into Aruja and up over Radion. And now it's foot to the floor, DRS open, we can engage overtake. There's nothing that Perez can do. He tried to squeeze me off the road there, but to no avail. We are the car to beat this weekend, and currently we are not being beaten. We are given a challenge, but we are not being beaten, and it is now grip against longevity, and currently grip is winning over longevity. But you guys can see here, Sainz has caught up to the back of Leclerc and Hamilton, and he is trying to get himself into this fight. But Sainz, I feel, should have been ahead of Leclerc. He should have been the one battling Hamilton currently, but Leclerc has just outshined Sainz today. What a race from Charles Leclerc. Here comes Verstappen, and unfortunately, Alonso has not done enough. Even though I feel our car is quicker than the Red Bull this weekend, clearly on the other side of the garage, of the garages between Perez and Alonso, it feels different. But of Perez and Alonso, of Alonso and Verstappen, excuse me. So Verstappen gets ahead of Alonso. It's P8 and P9 for those two drivers, and Sainz even gets past Lewis Hamilton. It's a Ferrari 3-4, and guys, as we head on towards the final lap, nothing much happened in those final laps. There's nobody that can touch it. It's a 6.1 second gap to Sergio Perez, a further 2 seconds back to Leclerc, and Leclerc is still trying to catch that Red Bull, but I think it's a little bit too late. Sainz 1.2 behind his teammate, as Hamilton is 9/10 behind Sainz, but I don't think there's anything that Hamilton can do about these two Ferraris. They really have good pace. Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly are going to come home with a P6 and P7 unless Verstappen can do something about Gasly. Verstappen has been on an absolute rampage this final stint. He's absolutely dusted Alonso. It's a 4.6 second gap to Alonso. He's 4.7 now, and he's trying to get past the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. And Ocon is too far up the road. Gasly is 7.5 seconds behind Ocon, so I highly doubt Verstappen is going to catch that unless Ocon has an engine failure. But guys, what a weekend. Qualifying, like in Q3, we had the utmost amount of bad luck and bad weather planning. But we came back in the sprint to stick it on pole, and we are now going to reap the fruits of this through the bus stop chicane for the final time. And it's another win in the bag for us and Aston Martin.
Awesome driving today. That's 4 race wins in a row.
That was brilliant stuff from Aston Martin today. What a superb victory. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Aston Martin's performance today has shown that they can be competitive with the biggest names in the sport. They're making their way out to the podium as we speak, and the reaction from the crowd must be incredibly uplifting for them.
Another rubber dub. Guys, I can't lie. I think actually my mark had a little bit the cat at the tail there. I think it's our 3rd race win in a row, but our 4th of the season. And guys, currently, yes, there's still half a season to go. But at this stage, the Aston is at such a point where it doesn't feel like this car is going to get caught. If we keep bringing in the upgrades, I highly doubt we're going to get caught. We keep our fastest lap record, so it's another bonus point for us. 8 bonus points so far this season. And it was 6.5 seconds to Perez. But I mean, Verstappen actually got Gasly in on that final lap. So he splits the two Alpines, but still 6th and 8th for Alpine is wonderful. Honestly, Alonso should have gone with Verstappen, in my personal opinion. But I mean, I'll take P9. 2 points are better than nothing. And Honestly, the only driver of the top 7 not here is George Russell, and that's thanks to a retirement. But I mean, guys, look at that. Yes, it was our 3rd victory in a row and our 4th of the season. It was our 4th podium in a row, though, because at Austria, we came home in P2. 175 points compared to 122. We're over 50 points ahead in the Drivers' Championship. We are starting to do a Verstappen of 2023. Verstappen IRL in 2023. And guys, look, I'm not going to say this is going to be such a boring ending to the season. You never know what's going to happen. Anything and everything can still happen. There's still half a season to go. And it is still open gates. Especially the constructors as well. There's still a lot that can happen in the constructors. And like I said, currently I am carrying Aston Martin. Like in real life, Alonso is carrying Aston Martin with Stroll. So I don't know why Alonso is doing a bit of a Stroll. He's not doing as bad as I think Stroll would have done. But he's doing a bit of a naughty Lancy boy. Just without the crashing and the terrible result. It's just the results are not close to what I'm doing. He's basically being Perez in real life compared to me. That is better. Perez against Verstappen, he's doing that with me. Yep, there we go. That's a much better analogy than calling Fernando Alonso Lance Stroll. That is not right. That is not right. It is very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. But guys, honestly, I am still flabbergasted by my sprint race strategy. Going on those softs was the key choice decision. What's the key decision? I don't know what I said there. I humbly apologize for my horrible English today. But going on these softs in the sprint was the key decision that I made this weekend. This choice literally won me, not just the sprint, but the main race as well, because it put me on pole. Yes, there were factors in the race that could have lost me it, and the fact that I went hard softs was a risk, but this still was this choice in the sprint to go on the softs and get from P10 to P1 within less than 4 complete laps. That is something that wants to be done. And nobody had an answer for me. Not Leclerc, not Perez, not Sainz, not anybody had an answer for me on those softs. Like I said in so many of the previous career mode videos, this Aston Martin on low fuel with grippy tires is the fastest car on the grid currently. And it is an absolute train on rails when I have grip and the car's on low fuel. The sprint race was 8 laps. 8 laps of fuel, it's low fuel. So I honestly just spanked these guys as hard as I could. And even though there were instances where it was like, ooh, this is getting a bit sketchy. We need to be very, very, very careful. It still turned out very, very well. We got 10th in qualifying, but we managed to take the 0 away for the sprint and the main race. And honestly, guys, that last stint in the main race where I was on the softs and I was just chasing down Perez, Hamilton, and Leclerc, it felt so good. You guys know I like the starting on the slower tire, ending on the quicker tire. You guys know I'm my quali pace compared to race pace. I'm the race pace guy. And honestly, hats off to Alpine. They had a wonderful performance this weekend. Hats off to Albon for qualifying. It's not his fault that his team absolutely screwed him over. But Ocon was in P2 at the start of this Grand Prix. Ocon was trying to go for gold, and he brought Gasly along with him. It's just at the end of the race, at the start of the race, Gasly had better pace than Ocon, but at the end, Ocon clearly had the better pace of the two, and Gasly just couldn't keep Max behind. But still, P6 and P8, well done to Alpine. But guys, don't click off yet. Don't you dare do it. That has been this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Guys, honestly, I know it's been a bit of a dry spell recently. Life has just been hectic. I'm not going to put it to anything else. I'm not going to make some sort of crazy excuse. Life has been hectic recently. I'm sorry. Once again, I'm getting back on the gravy train as much as I can, and sorry that this video is so late. I know you guys have been waiting for this one, and I'm sure you have not been disappointed with this video. The next episode is already within the editing works, and the other Gran Turismo content is already edited and ready to post. So keep an eye on the channel, and with that being said, if you have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below, and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future video, live stream, or short here on Turbo Fox Racers. While you're down there, Make sure to go check out the links in the description down below for all my social medias. All the links are there, as well as my second YouTube channel. Haven't posted content on there in a while, but I'm trying to form a plan to post content on there more recently. And still, last thing before you go, remember to drop a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you a nifty 2 seconds. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're back. It's been an awesome episode. It's been an awesome race. You guys are honestly amazing. And let's see what happens at the next race at the Hungaroring. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers!